The Gift of Depression, Chapter 2. I will remind you here many times that this is a 36 chapters course, that the best thing for you to do with it is to watch the videos many times, because the major influence, the major contribution of this type of learning is through repetition, because repetition helps the material get to the place where it is aimed to go to, your right brain, your emotional brain. And the emotional brain doesn't work through a linear logical pathways. Your emotional brain is learning through the experience, through creating familiarity with the material, through remembering, through process of awakening. So even if you don't agree with all the things that I say, or you don't understand stuff, or you skip some of the material, it's not always that crucial. The important thing is for you is just to continue and walk with me. And the things that are needed for your soul will find their way home. But for this to happen, you need to be here, to travel with me, but not only watching every video once for 36 steps, but to stay here, to watch it many times. And if you can do it with a group, it's even better, because once we watch such video with a group, our hearts open to the information, our emotional brain. So my hair is independent many times. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the second out of 3 chapters that deal with the question, why is depression so frightening? And I'm sure we can have many answers to this question. But I don't want us to stay too long on topics of fear, just to begin with it, to understand what is intimidating in my point of view, and then to continue. Because our job here is to find the present, the gift of depression. This gift can be experienced, can be given, can be reached only through this tunnel, only through this birth canal, which is painful, which is depressing. There's no other way. But sometimes specific changes, important changes, can take place only through this birth canal, through this unpleasant pathway. So this is here a space that is supposed to help you go there and find the gift that is waiting for you there. But first, we need to address the second fear, that depression reminds us death. And death is so frightening for us, especially in the Western world. My view is that the fear of death, or death anxiety, is the major problem of the Western society. We address many times death as a catastrophe, as a failure to live longer, as a failure to overcome all diseases. And we address death as something that is not life. And we address death as something that really does not exist as a living place, as a place where things are happening or things are related to what is going on now. A kind of void, darkness, nothing. All this scientific, technological progress hides within it a huge denial and ignorance about death. An attempt to put aside all spiritual aspects of life and to focus only on the tangible things. And this is why we keep this way. We keep this death anxiety so strong. So because we do not address this part of living, of existence. And I'm not going there now. This is not a purely spiritual pathway. This is not a course about life and death. This is a course about the gift of depression. And if we want to make depression a gift, we may need to look at our fear of death, of coming to a place of nothing. Depression is mainly a place of being temporarily nothing. You get into your own void, your own darkness, your own despair, your own kind of death. And when I said before that depression may be a kind of birth canal towards new way of life, new better life that is awaiting for you, I can add to this description that this rebirthing begins with a kind of death, emotional, spiritual death, that sometimes we have to go through in order for us to change, to transform, to throw things that are no longer needed, that are a burden that was so heavy that made us collapse to depression. And the duty of depression is to teach us not to keep taking this burden on our shoulders again, because it's dangerous for us. I believe that there is a close association between depression and death in our mind. The fear of stopping, the fear of not being where everybody is acting, talking, experiencing, working. You are not there. You are not seen. You cannot experience. You cannot cooperate. You cannot participate. It's a kind of death. And the more we, as a Western world, tend to focus more only on the earthly things, on technology, on what we call science, while ignoring the other parts of existence, the more we are afraid of death, the more we deny it, the more we try to overcome it, win it. You know, all these dreams, all these fantasies of being immortal, etc. I believe that depression helps you connect in a positive way with the fact that life and death are connected. It reminds you, the depression reminds you there is something beyond the daily routines, beyond the current dramas, beyond money, beyond food, beyond many things. This may be the beauty of the concept of death while we are alive. And sometimes for us to connect to the beauty of what is beyond what we perceive as living, sometimes for us to get there, we need to stop everything, but not in time that we choose, not when we go to a retreat or workshop or when we decide, no, when our soul inside decides, this is the time, now. And you cannot say anything. You are taken Same as we perceive that when we end our life, we are taken to death. We are taken to depression. We don't plan depression. We don't know where it begins. We don't know where it ends. We are taken to a place of nothing, very similar to death. So I believe that the fear of depression equals fear of death. And I believe that one of the gifts of depression is reducing the fear of death. I think it's a fantastic deal. But this deal is waiting for, because we are now just in chapter 2. So thank you for being here with me. Chapter 3 will be more here and now chapter. It will say that depression floods, surfaces the pains of life. Maybe this is the strongest fear of all. I'll see you then.